you very much indeed for joining us this morning to our Thirdfort for Lawyer Checker customers webinar. This is a brand new product that we're adding to our suite of products and services, so it's great of you to join us. Thanks very much indeed. I'm going to introduce in a minute my co-presenter for today, Ollie Thorntonberry from Thirdfort. Format of this morning, hopefully we're not going to keep you for too long. I'd really like to just give you a bit of an outline of what we're up to at Lawyer Checker and how we're helping firms protect their businesses. I'm then going to hand over to Ollie, who's going to give you a really full outline of how Thirdfort works, what the results look like, and how it's going to benefit your business. Finally, we're just going to kind of talk through a couple of admin bits and pieces on your account, then point you in the direction of the relevant people that you can speak to if you've got any further questions about Thirdfort. I think most people are familiar with Lawyer Checker. I hope you are. Business also has a couple of publications that we've got. If you're not signed up to them, I'd encourage you to jump onto the relevant sites and get signed up. Today's Legal Cyber Risk, which I think these are pretty self-explanatory, is a publication that's all geared around how law firms can be familiar with the risks that are associated with cybercrime and fraud, and what they can be doing to protect themselves. And of course, we've got our long-standing Today's Conveyancer publication. And you'll also hopefully be pretty familiar with our sort of roster of products and services that we've got. I think most people are using our account and entity screen, which is the law firm to law firm bank account verification service that we've got. But you may or may not be aware that we've kind of broadened our horizons over the last couple of years, and we've now got a few other different bits and pieces that are really geared around helping law firms identify and protect themselves from risks associated particularly with cybercrime. So Consumer Bank Account Checker does what it says on the tin. It's a verification tool for identifying the bank accounts of your clients so that when you're remitting funds, actually you can ensure that you're not remitting those funds to a fraudster. OnDMark is an email cloning or email cloning prevention piece of software that is combating this issue whereby fraudsters are intercepting emails and purporting to be people within your own organizations, and then obviously altering bank account details and redirecting funds. OnDMark really stops that in its tracks. We're also Cyber Essentials accredited. So Cyber Essentials is a sort of a government standard that we recommend law firms should be undertaking to ensure that their businesses are protected. We are able to take law firms right from very early accreditation through Cyber Essentials all the way through to ISO 27001 if that's of interest to you. So I'd encourage you to engage with us if that's something that you're looking to do in the next few months. I'm not going to say a huge amount more about Thirdfort particularly. I'm going to leave that to Ollie, but I do want to just point you in the direction of the of your login screen and identify where you can now obtain your Thirdfort searches from. So you're familiar with this. Is obviously this is where you get your account entity screen search. This is where you get your consumer bank account check search. You're also able now to do your Thirdfort search directly from your account. The first time you do this, you perform search here, you'll have to agree to a set of terms and conditions, which I'll be able to tell you a little bit more about, but essentially are around some of the user agreements for the data. But then essentially, you enter the client name, you enter their mobile number, click submit, and that's really where Thirdfort kicks in and has the potential to be a massive time saver to your business. So that's where you can download it and access it on our system. I'm going to hand you over to Ollie now, who's going to tell you a bit more about what Thirdfort does, how it works, and how it's going to be of benefit to your business.
That's great, thanks, David. So I've just shared my screen. Look, great to talk to you all today. in a nutshell, Thirdfort does two things for you and your clients. It does identity checks and source of funds checks in a quick, convenient, and more risk-effective way. And this is delivered. The Thirdfort solution is delivered to your clients through a mobile phone app. And the client goes through three basic stages on the app, which takes them typically 2 to 3 minutes. The first stage on the app, they enter in their basic information, name, address, date of birth, and email address. We run a full Experian address lookup, like many of you will do at the moment through perhaps your search providers or Call Credit or Smart Search or someone like that. And then we do a full PEPs and sanction screening on every single client that goes through the app. So that's kind of the first stage. The second stage, the client takes a picture with their mobile phone of their identity document. It's either a passport or driver's license. And the technology, which is driven by artificial intelligence, can determine whether that document is real or fake, or if it's real and it's been tampered with, that also will be flagged by the technology. Now, it's important to note at this stage that this tech has been used extensively in the banking world. It's actually been used for about the past 18 to 24 months. In fact, if anyone set up a digital bank account on their mobile phone recently, they would have been through exactly the same journey. If somebody set up a Starling or a Monzo or a Revolut account, it's exactly that type of technology. It's why you can set up a bank account so quickly and conveniently now, and it's widely accepted that this technology is much more reliable than the human eye, as I say, at spotting a fraud, a fake, or a tampered document. So that's really the kind of second stage of the app. And it finishes, the second stage finishes with a client asked to record a short video clip of themselves actually moving their head around and the technology, it's where facial recognition comes in, can link that person's face to the image in the ID document to inform you that the client who's taken a photo of this ID is who they say they are, which we know is a big issue. And actually, when we set up Thirdfort right at the beginning, well over 2 years ago, we spoke to Mishcon Dereya really early, and they had obviously just been through the DreamVar ID case there, and they invited us into their offices in London for the whole of last summer to kind of help refine this, to try and prevent cases like DreamVar happening again. Identity fraud, I know many of you will kind of relate to, is a big issue in this industry. So that's really a second stage, and kind of a key part of the app is around streamlining the identity part. It negates the need for the client to get certified copies of ID. The third bit, which we get most excited about, is where the client can actually link their bank account directly through the app. This takes, and I'll show you through the video exactly how this works, but this takes typically 6 or 7 seconds. And it's just the equivalent really of, rather than the client having to get six months or so printed off bank statements, they can share those bank statements digitally with the click of a button. And it just, there's no password sharing. It's nowhere near as scary as I think many people envision. And indeed, we run around 100 app downloads a day at the moment. And we find around 60% of those clients that are downloading the app do actually opt in to link their bank account. So, it is slick. It's very secure. We're FCA regulated to be able to do this and offer this. And it works by linking to the banking app on the client's mobile phone. And I'll give you some more context when I actually show you the video as to how this works. So broadly, it's those 3 steps in the app. Us as a business, Thirdfort, we wanted to bring you the absolute best of what's out there into one easy to access and intuitive app for your clients, and a very straightforward, simple way of using our system as the lawyer. So it made perfect sense when we started the conversation with Lawyer Checker, who share many of our same beliefs around risk is a huge challenge in conveyancing and the legal world kind of more generally, but and preventing risk is kind of the or mitigating risk as much as possible is kind of the core principle of the business, which is very much the same for us. So our product is now live and recently went live on the Lawyer Checker platform. It is very simple for you guys who are already lawyer checker clients to begin to sign up and begin using Thirdfort. And part of the point of this webinar is to show you kind of how easy it is to begin using Thirdfort. And actually, once you do start using it, hopefully after this short session, you'll be a bit more informed as to kind of what you're getting back from your clients in terms of the output PDF report, which will go onto your case management system at the end. So I'll jump right in to show you how to initiate the check on your client when you get a new client. I'll then show you the results that come back, the journey that your client goes through on the mobile phone, and then indeed the results that come back. And I know David and his team will kind of answer any questions you have directly after it. They're very well briefed on how the system works. As I say, this is more informative. So I think everyone can see my screen, which is great. So all you need to do is just log into your lawyer checker the usual way using your usual credentials. You click on the Thirdfort ID checker on the right hand side there, and then you just click a perform search. And it really is as simple as putting in your client's name. So in this instance, if David is the client, I'd put in his name. I would then key in the mobile number of the client. And then at this stage, the client receives this. This is all you need to do as a lawyer to it sends the client a text message which initiates the check effectively. And that text message, which I'll just click just here, if I click submit, so that text message has now been sent to David, the client, and that would say, we at ABC Solicitors use Thirdfort to verify your identity. Please click this link to download the app, and that link would take them through to either the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on what device they have. Now, it's important to note at this point, the 18 law firms that are currently using Thirdfort, they all send out in their client care letter 3 or 4 lines that inform the client that the firm uses Thirdfort to verify identity. They use Thirdfort app. So the client has already been briefed through that client care letter. And also there's a very short 1-page summary overview, which David and his team will be able to provide anyone that needs it. An overview on Thirdfort. We are FCA regulated. It gives the client some more information about how we work, why we offer the solution we do for the purposes of compliance, etc. And it's in a very simple, easy to consume format. So as I say, the client, when they receive the text message, it's not like they're just getting it out of the blue. They're already very well briefed and usually expecting some kind of link. And what we found is clients really like this because it empowers them at the beginning of the transaction journey, the conveyancing journey, to actually move the thing along as quickly as possible. And as we all know, you professionals on the line will know better than anybody, your clients are most motivated to get started and get moving in a transaction right at the outset. So when they're getting this link and they're going into the App Store and downloading the app, we're finding the vast majority, so above 80% of all clients, actually download and complete the app within 24 hours. So it's a really, really quick turnaround. And indeed, if they don't download the app, then they're given an automatic chaser from Lawyer Checker's support team. So that's something to just note. The clients that say are very eager to do this, and they like that they can do things on an app. The world's moving in a direction where everything happens on one smartphone. So once the client receives that text message and they go to the App Store and they download the Thirdfort app, I'll take you through very briefly now, and this is available on YouTube. So if anyone, David, as I say, has access to this, if you Google Thirdfort, you'll see. You Google Thirdfort on YouTube, anyone will be able to access this video, and I'll just take you through kind of how this video works. And there's a few different videos that we've got on here that will kind of help you through the system as well. But the one that I'm going to take you through now is, as I say, what the client actually sees when they do download the app. So this is a client opening the app for the first time. and I'll just pause it there. This is the client keying in their mobile number, which is how that links back to the check that you have initiated your side in Lawyer Checker. So just to kind of put that in context, when you click on new search here in Lawyer Checker, that will actually take you directly through. So I'll just get back to that screen. In fact, without logging on, when you initiate that check, when I initiated it on David, that is what that is what when I keyed in David's number and David is entering in his mobile number here, that's how the two things link and connect together. So that's kind of how the system matches. And if the client actually goes ahead and downloads this app ahead of receiving a text message, they can easily click accept to share this information at the end of the app journey. So that's kind of no problem at all. The text message at the beginning really is to just prompt the client to go to the App Store and download it. So the client, as I say, enters in the text message code they get there. It's two-factor authentication right at the beginning, security being at the heart of everything that happens in the app. And then the client goes through, I say, the three broad steps which I outlined at the beginning. Basic information, address, certification of ID, and the option to link their bank account, number 3 at the bottom there. So when the client actually clicks on the top screen and they go through this bit of information, data entry, they put in, say, their name, their email address, and their date of birth, which we use for the Experian address lookup, and also the pets and sanctions screen. So this is very much, UK is the default. We've got a address lookup just there, and then they can go in and it populates their address, and that's absolutely fine, very straightforward. The client enters into a contract with Thirdfort at this stage, and it's important to note that the client at all times has the option to request we delete all of their information and all of that data. Us being an FCA regulated organization, and we speak very closely with the SRA and the CLC. It's obviously really important from a data protection perspective and a regulatory perspective that the client has complete control over their data. So we make this very straightforward for them to do. So on the verification of ID, as I say, we want to inform the client about why they need to do this at this stage, but they effectively need to authenticate their ID. Most clients we find click driver's license because that's nice and convenient for them, and they'll have that in their wallet on them at that time. So if they click the UK is usually at the top, and it's important to note at this stage that technology can verify over 180 nationalities. So we've got lots of firms that use us for international clients for validating their ID, and the technology works in exactly the same way. But UK is at the top. Now the client at this stage is taking a picture of the front and then the back of their driver's license. And how the technology works, I say, the supplier we use for this is called Onfido, who is now used by Barclays and Santander. How Onfido works is, as I say, it's artificial intelligence driven. What does that mean? That means over the past 6 or 7 years that it's been operational, the technology's been fed, or the computer's been fed, tens of millions of copies of UK driver's license. And this is both real and fake. They're constantly going onto the dark web and procuring fake copies of documents, which they're feeding into their computer algorithm and training it to detect what a fake document looks like. And there's hundreds of kind of micro telltale signals, such as, which a human eye can never spot, such as the distance of the numbers here, the distance between the numbers and the text, the size of the font of the name, which we've obviously blurred out for data protection purposes, but the size of the text of the name. There's lots of authentic documents which are either lost or stolen, which are very tampered with by very sophisticated fraudsters, and the names are usually slightly larger. But as I say, the human eye just can't pick up. Forensic experts often can't pick it up, let alone kind of non-experts, like lawyers who at the end of the day went to law school to learn how to be a lawyer, not a forensic investigator, so they can't pick that up. The computer is much better at that. It just so happens that it's a much more convenient way for the client to do this. So this technology is very much built for the kind of digital age. So say that's how the artificial intelligence works. So the client, and I'll show you what comes back in the report at the end, but the client takes a picture of the front and then also the back of the driver's license. And at the back, there's checks like there's a serial code at the bottom right of every single driver's license. It actually runs that against the local police record to make sure that it hasn't been reported as lost or stolen. Now, this might seem kind of a little silly for many people, but it is, as I say, it's very, very necessary to prove that the client, is who they say they are, and they're not trying to spoof this technology. So it's important to note that you can only do this short video clip within an app. So there's, lots of other options, I think, out there where you can click a link through an email or something like that, and it goes through the browser on your phone, and it's just taking a still picture. The big risk with just taking a still picture of somebody is the technology can be fooled with a photograph of somebody. So what we actually do through the app and using Onfido is we ask the client to record a very short video clip of themselves where they actually speak into their camera on their phone. And we ask them to look over their shoulder to actually prove that they are a living, breathing human being and they're not, a computer or a photograph. And then we also ask them to kind of finish it off here for completeness purposes. We ask them to take a photo of themselves as well. So that's kind of the last bit on the identity verification side. And then we move into the bank statements linking. As I say, around 60% of people are linking their banks. It's not obligatory. People can skip this step. There's a very clear opt-out at this stage. But the skip this step in conveyancing means that the client still needs to go and download, 6 months of bank statements, and in many cases will still need to fill out, a very long source of funds client questionnaire. With our technology, once a client does link their bank account, we give you a huge amount and very streamlined information to help you make an informed choice around your client and their source of funds. We want to give you a colorful picture about your client as a straightforward and streamlined way as possible. And as I say, that you'll get some more context on this when I actually show you the report that comes back. So if I just jump right in and show you what happens when the client does link their bank account, and as I say, this is very, very cutting edge new age technology. We needed to be FCA regulated to be able to do this. It took us a long time to kind of get that license and actually build out this functionality, but we're delighted to have launched it. And we're seeing firms that are using us right now, firms like PM Property Lawyers, BLJ Solicitors, they're seeing huge amounts of time saving for both their clients and their lawyers when they do this. And let me just show you how easy it is. So as I say, it's app to app on the client's phone. There is a way that the client can do it if they don't have mobile banking on their phone, but it's far harder and there's far more friction, and they need to enter username, passwords, etc., which is very few people do that. So it does, the caveat is it does typically require the client to have their banking app on their phone, but if they do, there's no password entering. It's very, very streamlined and slick. And let me show you what I mean by that. So if they were to click Barclays and share their Barclays information, it just, once they click allow, it takes them straight through, blink and you miss it, straight through to their Barclays app on their phone, where they go into their Barclays app and they effectively just authorize Thirdfort to have read-only access to those bank statements. There's no access to bank account, there's no password entering, and it's just as simple as that. Done, complete. We have now 12 months of bank statements shared. So hopefully, as you saw there, that was kind of less than, I think it was around 7-8 seconds, and that information for the client has been shared. And then I'll show you what comes back in the PDF report in just a moment. It's important to note at this stage the client can enter. They can link multiple bank accounts within, say, Barclays. So if they have a savings and a current account, they can link both of those. They can also at this screen go in and link, say, an RBS bank account if they've got that on their phone as well. And in fact, I think that's exactly what we do is we show you, with RBS exactly how that works. And it works in exactly the same way. It's app to app. So it would take you through to your RBS bank account app on your phone, and then it authorizes you to go in there. And then it just clicks confirm, and then that's it, done. And the information shared, and it takes you back to Thirdfort. So it redirects you. And I know David and his team will give you kind of lots more information around, how clients are finding that at the moment, how easy they're finding it. Some clients, of course, are a little skeptical of it, and they prefer to just do the, paper upload. As I say, around 60% of people are opting in to do that. And that's based on around 100 app downloads a day. So, we are finding significant numbers of, conveyancers clients, lawyers clients do actually, opt in to do that. So that's kind of a big learning for us. The client at this stage is brought to this screen, where this generates a report, and you will actually be so the PDF report will be generated, which you can go back into Lawyer Checker and download, and it's really simple indeed to download. If the client opted to actually skip that screen, so at this stage, if they'd skip that step and buy paper copies later, and they'd come back to actually their landing screen at the end, they can go back in. They've got an option here to link another bank account, so they can always go back and actually connect their bank account. They find it too challenging to get paper copies of bank statements, which in this day and age we find, you know, increasingly less and less people actually get that through the post. Everyone seems to be doing everything on online banking. So that's really it on the app side and the client experience. And kind of just lastly, I want to show you what actually comes back from the client side of it. So there will be at this screen just here, there will be you'll see a pending if the client hasn't completed the checks. If they have done it, then it would show as complete just there. And that would allow you to effectively just click on that, just click in there, and then you can just very simply download the PDF report, which will go straight into your case management system. And that's very simple indeed to do. So that's down there, and you can kind of drag and drop that into your case management system. So just to kind of talk you through actually, you know, what's in that report. I've just got one actually in front of me right here. You know, all with dummy data. And I say David and his team can happily share this report with anyone I know after the call. This is all dummy data, and it kind of gives you a really good idea of what you can expect to get back from your client. So just very briefly, and I'm conscious of time. For you get obviously all the information the client's entered around their address, their date of birth. Just at the top, this first kind of section that you're looking at is around the document report. Has the document passed the artificial intelligence test? I.e., is the document authentic? Is it real? And you know, is it real and has not been tampered with? So you know, those are the kind of big couple of things, and that will come back as passed if you know the technology thinks that this document, as I say, is authentic and has not been tampered with. And there's actually another, you know, there's a whole load more checks that go on in the background with, you know, very granular detail behind this. But we've just given you some of the most important ones here. So, you know, just going through a couple of those. Visual authenticity, the document is genuine. There's no signs of falsification or integrity violations. You know, very important. All parts of the uploaded documents are valid. You know, there's all sorts of information. The document has not been recorded as lost or stolen. You know, as I say, running that against the local police records. This facial similarity, this part of it passed again. This is important to note. It's effectively when, if you recall, when we did the person speaking into the app, this is trying to prove that the person that spoke into the app is who they say they are. So that's using facial recognition technology, and it actually matches to the photograph on the ID document. The electronic identity will be effectively very similar to what many of you are consuming on your search providers, or direct, as I say, through someone like Smart Search or Core Credit. We get that through Experian, so we just do a simple address lookup on Experian's database. Does this address match Angela Zoe? You know, and it's a minimum of 2 to pass. So we do, you know, that full address electronic identity lookup. We do that on every single client. We also do a full PEPs and sanctions screen on every single client using LexisNexis and actually another provider after that to further reduce the number of false positives and really make it more streamlined for you. We've simulated a fail in this example because if they do come back as a PEP, a politically exposed person on a sanctions list, we give you a whole appendix to help you decide whether the client that you're dealing with is the person on sanctions list or is a politically exposed person. Now, on your case management system, as part of the output, you will have a copy of the document that they've taken a photo of, as well as obviously a copy of the photo of the individual, the selfie that they took there. So this will either be a driver's license or a passport. If it's a driver's license, the front and back will show there. As I say, that's been thoroughly screened by the technology. So as you can see there, the few suppliers that we use. Now this is, I know, will be the peak interest for lots of you, and we're certainly finding this is lots of people get most excited by this capability. But when the client, if they do actually link their bank account, and this instance we've simulated the client linking their Lloyd's bank account and their Barclays. We showed you linking at Barclays earlier. You can actually see the name of the person that links to that particular bank account on the actual in the bank system. So remember, we are pulling this information directly from the bank. There's no risk that this person, your client, has manipulated that information that's come from the bank, unless they've actually hacked into that bank account, which nothing's ever unhackable, but in this day and age it's pretty damn hard to hack banks. Account numbers and sort codes, this will be helpful. I know many of you will consume through Lawyer Checker the account verification for actually sending money to consumers. This is very similar. You can see the account number and sort code. So if the vendor's done it, you can further reference that when you send the money out. You can see the proof of funds. You can see the balance on those accounts. We simulated a huge amount of money on that particular bank account. Wouldn't we love to have that amount in our banks? But that obviously, gives you a very clear red flag around, okay, this is a person that earns, after tax £2,500, and they've got £500,000. Where do they get that £500,000? And they've got a gift from someone called Janet Blogs. I probably need to ask some further questions. But in most scenarios, for the majority of your vanilla, straightforward clients, you'll be able to see who their employer is. If they've received a big gift, you'll be able to see where that gift's come from, or if they've received money from a divorce settlement or sale of shares or whatever it is. That'll obviously show in this summary report. And the reason it'll show is because we illustrate to you here the largest 20 transactions over the past 12 months. And we're actually exploring at the moment. We can go back further. We can actually go back to 3 years for many bank accounts. We're exploring whether we show that as well. But at the moment, you can just see the 12 months of all of the information. In around a month's time, we will actually launch which Lawyer Checker you'll also be able to consume through Lawyer Checker. We're offering a more detailed source of funds offering, where we'll ask the client to provide some further information around their source of funds through the app. And that information, the questionnaire effectively to the app, that information will be populated in this white space down here. And very soon after that, we'll use building some kind of smart technology to be able to match what the client tells us in their questionnaire to what's in their bank statement. And they'll be able to upload supportive documentation such as divorce settlement certificates, etc. And that'll also be populated in this report. So the idea is to give you, as I say, the best of what's out there in a very straightforward and easy to consume method. But importantly, you have it all in one easy to interpret report, which PDF, which goes in your case management system. And with that, I think I've kind of covered hopefully everything. But as I say, I know David's very, very briefed. We've done lots of training with him and his colleagues, so they're very well briefed on how this works, and they can provide you with lots more information on this example report as an example, the video on YouTube, and also there is a whole actual PDF report that we've produced on, which gives you more information around which conveyancers are using Thirdfort right now, actually how the ID technology works, and why it's been used so much in the banking world, and why we think in the legal world it's going to increasingly become ubiquitous. And we think very soon it will be ubiquitous, because it's, as I say, the experience for your clients and for you is just so much better. Not only that, it's much, much better from a risk perspective, because it is the computer and cutting edge technology that's verifying whether the ID document is real or fake, not a human, perhaps an untrained human eye, and also relying on someone to kind of certify the documents themselves. But importantly, on this source of funds linking stuff at the end, this information is totally genuine, and it's not I'm sure many of you have seen all of these dodgy websites that are springing up apparently more and more frequently, which enables you to very, very easily get hold of, or your clients get hold of, a fake copy of a bank statement or utility bill, which I find frankly absolutely terrifying. So, and I think and I've spoken to the SRA at length about this. I think it's staggering that, most people are relying on paper copies of bank statements, and especially in kind of the mortgage and bank lending world, when it's so easy to kind of get fake copies. Whereas with, the report that's generated through effectively the bank linking, as I say, this information's coming directly from the bank. And on that note, David, I'll hand it back over to you. Thank you so much.
Oh, no, thanks very much indeed, Ollie. I think that final screen actually is really incredibly powerful, isn't it? Because it just shows you how easy it is to actually get hold of, fake documentation, which, is a real challenge for law firms. I'm not really going to say a huge amount more. You guys are going to be interested in the price point, which is £14.50 per check. It all goes through your lawyer checker account. It's very straightforward, just gets added to your monthly direct debit. So you would just order it as you would sort of order anything else from us. If you've got any questions about any of what Ollie said or about the availability of the product through Lawyer Checker, I've outlined here who your kind of key points of contact are. If you're sort of appreciate people, there may be some discrepancy as to where people believe they're based, but we can always point you in the right direction if you contact us. If you're sort of broadly based in the north, Tom Lees is your direct point of contact. If you're somewhere in the Midlands, then Cheryl Hodgson, and if you're somewhere in the south, Emma Badley is your sort of key relationship manager. Their contact details are outlined here. Thank you very much indeed, Tom, for your time today. Very, very useful. And I think one of the things that you were telling me not so long ago about the real benefits of this was actually you're seeing organizations reduce the time it takes for them to complete their client verification, which in turn is having a massive knock-on effect on the time that it takes to complete the conveyance, because you're reducing the time from 3-4 weeks potentially to undertake all of that verification down to a matter of days. And I think that's an incredibly powerful message as well that you're seeing from law firms that are adopting Thirdfort.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, a classic example of that, Harvey over at PM Property Lawyers, he's seen, and we kind of sat with his team to see that, but he saw his, exactly as you say, his client onboarding time. We've kind of validated these stats, drop from an average of 20 days to around 5 days now, and it's kind of dropping from 5 days down to more. So kind of 75% taken off that kind of client onboarding, which, the ID and source of funds is such a painful and timely part of that.
Thanks, Ollie. So we'll leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for your attendance and time today. What we're going to do is we're going to do a record. This has been recorded. We'll get it uploaded onto the Lawyer Checker YouTube channel, and we'll circulate this so you can share it with colleagues. We'll also circulate some of the links and example checks that Ollie's shown us today, so that you've got examples of those as well. And like I say, if you wanted to go ahead and get started, it's all there on your Lawyer Checker account already. Simply agree to the terms and conditions if you haven't already, and get started. And like I say, any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch with